Hello everybody, X here. I get again to give you another very exciting collection reflection video where I take the time out to sit down with y'all to be able to pull anything off my shelf, whether it be a game, a limited edition game, whether it be a console itself, or anything else in between, just anything out of my collection to be able to sit down and just give my personal thoughts on the game and any overall experiences that I have or fond memories with that game in question, limited edition, whatever it may be though. And for today's video, I'm going to be talking about Donkey Kong Country 2 for the GBA. Yes, the GBA, not the Super Nintendo. You know, I happen to grow up on the GBA. I don't care what you might happen to say, whether or not the Super Nintendo version was better or something like that. I didn't manage to go through and play the Super Nintendo version until it came out on Nintendo Switch Online via the SNES app, though. But this is the game in question I will be talking about today. I have a lot of fond memories, and it is definitely one of my most favorite 2D platformers of all time, though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video.
Rivers of destruction, here on my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again. Rivers of destruction, here on my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again.
So, old Donkey Kong Country 2 for the GBA. I have a lot of fond memories with this. And you know what? I know a lot of people might have experience with the Super Nintendo one, but I guess you can kind of nutshell this. This is more so just the game in general. So whether you play Super Nintendo, GBA, doesn't really matter though. But at least for me, I grew up playing this GBA version though. And me and this game go way back. I'm sorry I don't have like the actual case for this game, you know, like the one that actually came in every GBA case of it though. I don't know, you might see something pop up right here for the box art of it though. But, you know, you would think as a kid, it would have been nice for you to actually save some of those cases for some of those games, for those GBA games. I mean, would it be in that papery, flimsy material? A lot of people probably just chunked it in the trash, never even thought about it though. But lo and behold, if you're trying to find like a complete copy of any GBA game nowadays, especially those Pokemon games though, dude, those prices on eBay are like stupidly expensive though. You know, it's quite a different era than where we were now with plastic cases like DS and Wii onward. I'm pretty sure everybody in the mall kind of saved those cases though. But you know what? For this game right here, man, I have a lot of fond memories with it. I actually grew up playing this game on my GBA SP. I had like a silver one that I just walked around with. I never had the Game Boy Advance, just the original one. I grew up on the SP ones. I didn't have to deal with all the battery switching around and stuff because thank goodness, because I was constantly recharging my GBA all the time to play this game along with the other slew of games though. But at least with this game, I remember getting it either on my birthday or Christmas, and it was either from my parents or my grandparents or whatnot, though. And I remember having a lot of fond memories playing this game at my grandma's house as well, though. And you know what? With it being a 2D platformer, I would say it was definitely up there in terms of my most favorite ones of all times. And I would say the only things that probably came close to it in modern day, looking back at it now, would probably be, the two Ori games, so Ori and the Blind Forest and Will o' the Wisp, along with Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I think between those three games, I think that's the pinnacle of 2D platforming though. But until we had those games in more recent history, for the longest time, this game was like by far my favorite. Now, some of y'all might be thinking, well, what about the first Donkey Kong Country game or Donkey Kong Country 3? Well, as for Donkey Kong Country 3, I had that game. It's good. I just can't get over Kiddy Kong, man. Like, have you seen that dude? Like, I don't know. That just never gave me a good vibe with him and Dixie. I just couldn't though. Now, the first Donkey Kong Country game, I didn't manage to play that game until it came out on the SNES online app. So until then, I didn't manage to go through it. I managed to go through it and beat through it. And you know what? It's still a great game. But I don't know if it's nostalgia speaking though, but this one still holds, a special place in my heart. It's just the way how it was kind of presented and stuff. And even when you boot up this game for the GBA and the SNES versions, there's like some small little differences that they managed to put in the GBA version, which I really like. Because in terms of the story for this game, literally King K. Rool, which is like one of my favorite enemies or antagonists from just a Nintendo villain in general, though. But he manages to come through. He saw the damage and stuff that Donkey Kong managed to do in the previous game though. So he said, you know what, I'm gonna take him out of the picture. That way I can just do whatever I want though. And I like how they actually had a little cutscene of him on this little ship dropping down and knocking out Donkey Kong. Like Donkey Kong had like such a big head. He was like a big shot. And he was like, yeah, you know what? I own that, man. I'm just chilling on my beach, just sipping my drink. Cranky Kong was like, hey, you're getting a little too cocky over there, though. But you know what? He was like, yeah, buzz off on, man. You don't even know nothing. Took him and then, you know what? Left a little note for him. So obviously you have Diddy Kong back in action again, but then you had the introduction of Dixie Kong up in there. So now it's like, oh, okay, between Diddy and Dixie, you managed to have two new allies that managed to run through this game way. You had experience with Diddy before in the first game, but Dixie Kong is completely new. And the one thing I did like about her moveset was the fact that she had her ponytail and she can just basically like glide across the stages. It made platforming in this game a lot easier when you were using her. However, the only thing that kind of offset that was obviously if you got hit by anything in general, and there you go, you wind up switching with your other ally, and then the other one happens to run off though. So there's a little bit of checks and balances up in this game, which I do appreciate. Now, the one thing that a lot of people can easily call out for this one game in particular is the music. Because oh shoot, this game right here has a phenomenal soundtrack. There's not a lot of people that make video game music and compose them that a lot of people will probably happen to remember the name of whoever happened to compose the music. This game was so good with its music, I just happened to memorize this dude's name, David Wise. He was the composer for all the music that you basically heard for Donkey Kong Country 2, including, I think one of the most iconic things he made was that Aquatic Sympathy music that, anytime you're in an underwater level, you heard that music that was playing that he composed. And you know what? For a lot of underwater levels, especially up until that moment in time, they kind of felt a little weird. It didn't kind of feel like you were truly traversing in water. Sometimes the water physics is always off. It's still a common issue nowadays where people they still don't prefer things that are underwater in general. It's just not a good thing for a lot of people though. But this game, I think, did it right. Not only in terms of how you traverse it, because you also have animal buddies, like you're actually able to ride that swordfish buddy if it's available in certain levels though. But that music just kind of transported you into a different era. It felt like you were kind of drawn into the environment that was actually playing out in this game. I don't know, it's just something about it that just kind of calms your nerves and just oh, okay, I'm just kind of chilling, mellowing, kind of just taking it easy in this little water section right here though. I don't know, it's really hard to describe, but if you played this game and you experienced this music that David Wise composed, you just know what I'm talking about right there. And when you look at the world map, you can see how you kind of start off at the very bottom of the island, right? And then you just have to slowly kind of go through and traverse your way up that whole entire island, though. And it's a monumentous climb for both Diddy and Dixie as they're going through it. They have a lot of different environments, including one that was a bee-centered area to literally a frozen tundra area and stuff. They had a lot of good different environments. They had quite a bit of level diversity, even that early on. Obviously this game is based on the Super Nintendo version, but obviously I'm talking about the GBA one though. So you know what? They had some nice themes, at least for all the levels that you're going through and traversing up in this game though. However, you know what? I like how it starts it off easy, but by the time you get to the very end, I know that there was one level, or not one, I think there's actually quite a few of them that had those thorny vines or whatnot though. It's very close to the top where you get near the final boss though. And gosh by golly, I remember running through some of those stages time and time and time again. If you just didn't make those jumps just right, or maybe there was some of those levels where you're riding around with the parrot and you're just kind of trying to barely graze yourself through it. Oh, don't even get me started on those bees that were just circulating going through some of them levels though. I can't tell you how many lives I lost thanks to those stupid bees, man. I'm like, man, those things just need to die. And those red indestructible ones, unless you have a can of TNT though, I especially hated those things. Get out of here. But honestly, there was a lot of great challenges for this game as you went through and traversed up on there though. Still remember, I don't know why, but when you try to go from world to world, if you want to go back or go forward or something like that though, you have to get assistance from Funky Kong. And I don't know, it's something about that music. that music right now because it's like dun 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 bong, dun 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 bong, 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 dun, dun. I don't know. It's just something about that music. I just see why is it a good job with a lot of these tracks up in this game though. I don't know. It's just really good though. But nonetheless, it's just a great overall experience going through and playing this game while I was younger, though. It definitely helped with the times, just, going through childish things and stuff, going to school and stuff. At least you had something to look forward to, even if, yes, this game was going to kick me real hard because it wasn't necessarily the easiest game out there, though. You know what? It provided a great, nice little bit of challenge. And obviously, when I finally made my way to the very top and I had to challenge King K. Rule, woo, that was a boss right there. It's technically, I think it's like one of my top 10 most iconic bosses ever, which I actually made a video on the channel talking about some of my favorite Nintendo bosses in general. And it did happen to make the list right there though. But this dude, I can't say how many times I challenged this boss over and over and over. And at first, it started off easy. He was just kind of shooting, his barrel at you. You just jump over the stuff. But then when they started shooting the things and they started looping and going in circles and stuff, I was like, man, oh man, I can't tell you how many times I tripped up on it though. And it always got me mad every time he pulled Donkey Kong down and started shooting his gun at it. It's like, wait, like Nintendo games have guns and stuff like what the heck? I don't know. But King K. Rule, he was rocking that thing though. But that music, Crocodile Sympathy, though. Oh my goodness. That's a really good solid track. I still listen to that mess even today. And then even when they did like the remix thing on Smash Brothers Ultimate, just fun stuff. Oh man, that just sounds and just rolls off the eardrums really nice right there though. But overall, that was a really cool, impressive boss fight. And then finally, whenever you beat him, you literally knock that, that crocodile dude all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. That just felt so satisfying though. My only small little regret is the fact I don't think I ever went through. Yes, there is like a secret world where if you manage to get enough of those DK imbles, you're actually able to go through and do certain levels. I managed to do a few of them, but I hadn't gotten like all of them to where I was able to get every single one of those levels. And technically, that'll allow you to rematch King K. Rool in that secret world. That's the only thing I hadn't done up until this day, though. So I don't know. Maybe, if I get the feeling of it, though, I might go back and do that. So yeah, so that's basically all I have to say for Donkey Kong Country 2. Such a great, phenomenal game. If you haven't managed to play this game at all, and if you don't have a GBA, and I don't know if whether or not they'll actually bring this version of, Donkey Kong Country to the GBA, side of the things for the NSO, but you can play the Super Nintendo. I won't rag on y'all if y'all play that version though, but I still feel like the GBA version is a little more superior. I don't know, that's just my personal bias though. Call it what you may though, but nonetheless, you need to go out there and play this game. It's still one of the best 2D platforms you could probably ever go out and play. I'm just letting you know that now. You will get a little bit of challenge. It's not necessarily a super easy game like your traditional 2D Mario games and stuff like that. It ain't nothing like that. It's a grown man's game, but kids are welcome for the challenge though. But that's all I'm gonna basically say about this game right here though. But if you happen to play this game growing up, you played it in recent memory, or you haven't played it on the NSO, let me know down in the comment section down below. What all have you thought about this game in general though? Do you share some of my personal thoughts, or do you have any other personal stories of your own? I'd love to see them down in the comment section down below. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of today's video here. So if you really like it, make sure to go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until what video I make next, see y'all.